Welcome back to Stewart Arts. I'm a relative novice to wood turning, but in the few months I've been doing it, I can say that I'm pretty well addicted to it, and I think I'm going to be doing this for quite some time. You probably have seen some of my videos of little things I've made, and in the course of making those things, I found it necessary to create some small tools and some things that I got tips on from the other videos that I saw. I belong to a wood turners guild here in South Florida, and so I got some tips from some of the other folks there on things to make and do. And so I made these items, and I found these tools to be really very useful. So I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes and share 5 tools that I've made, and I'm going to show you how I use them and give you a little bit of information about how they were made. I hope you find this video useful. I'll start with this. This is an old Craftsman high-speed tool. A friend gave me a set of these, and I had some duplicate tools as a result of receiving this, but I did not have a round nose scraper. So I just took this thing over to the grinder, and I don't know what this thing was. It might have been a skew, possibly. I can't even remember what this thing was. At any rate, within 2 or 3 minutes, I had this thing into the basic shape that I was looking for, and this thing is really excellent for hollowing and just any utility work for wood removal. It works very well. And when I need to sharpen it, I just take it over to my belt sander and I just touch it up, and it's good to go. I'm not sure what to call this. Maybe not quite a box scraper, but I was into making some small pieces here. I didn't do a video on these, but I had some of these little maple building blocks from a child's playground. And I was turning these little miniature pieces, and I wanted to make them as lifelike as I could. So I needed something to get around the corner inside here. So I just took this as just a little piece of steel. It's probably just mild. I don't even think it's any sort of high-speed steel. I just took it over to the grinder and knocked out the basic shape, and once again took it over to the belt sander and put a nice little edge on there. And I pretty much used this thing to hollow out several of these little pieces, like this little mini vase here. So it's probably fancier than it needs to be. I put a handle on it here. This handle, I was into doing chain poles for a while for ceiling fans, so I had some of these left over, so I just put that on there so it looked pretty. In an earlier video, I made this copper banded trinket box for Queen Elizabeth's birthday. I wasn't successful in getting it to her, but I sure had a good time making this thing. And in that video, I featured the use of this little screwdriver box scraper here. I've got 500 screwdrivers. That might be a slight exaggeration, but I have a bucket of tools that I can't throw away. So I went and ground this thing down. I needed something for these little lidded projects. I needed something that would give me a nice square corner on the inside here, and so this thing is absolutely perfect. It's undercut on the tip and on the side, and I've got it cut to about a 90-degree angle there, and sometimes it'll have a little radius. It looks a little sharp there right now, but this is the tool that I used for fitting the top and the bottom for this little lidded box. So this really impressed me. It's really awesome for these little tiny projects. So this is a go-to tool for me. Here's a little detail gouge that I made just out of a piece of, looks like 1/4-inch steel. It's not any kind of a fancy tool steel or anything. It's one of my first projects here. I made the handle for it and everything. I think I got the idea from this off of YouTube, and it might have been a Mike Peace or a Mike Walt or something like that video. I can't even remember where I got the idea, but it was one of the first tools that I made. And it's a really nice little detail tool here. And I just kind of ground it so that I had a sharp tip on one face, and then if you turn it 60 degrees, or I guess it'd be 120 degrees, you've got a little more of a curved surface. And then this one has a little bit of a wider V. And this thing is really great for cleaning out small grooves and little spaces and just kind of detailing those tight areas that your typical tools aren't going to get to. And last but not least is my carbide roughing tool here. I actually did another video that's dedicated to how this thing was made. But I made this thing just with a round carbide tip, bought online, and I've used this thing many, many times. And I've only sharpened it once. I took the little carbide insert out and I used a little diamond stone, and I think I brought it back to life in like 1 minute. I had the thing off of here and on the stone and back on here. So that's the original carbide bit. I use this thing for roughing out green wood. I bought several little logs from our local guild, and I was roughing those into cylinders, and I had a ball with this thing because this thing was really peeling the bark off and everything and really helping me get it down. And I use it with kiln dried wood as well to hog down to the basic shape of what I'm going after. So it really makes quick work. Now this one has a little bit of a special feature here. I figure if I ever get into doing large hollow forms like vases and whatnot, I thought I would make this to where it's adjustable. So I've got this screw in here and I can pull this thing about 8 or 10 inches out. I don't know if I'll ever actually use it at that length, but if I need it to be long, I can make it long. But in the meantime, I just keep it on its shortest setting here. And even with that, it's the largest tool I have at the lathe. You know, looking at these 5 tools, I made every one of these out of on-hand material. And so you could say the cost of this was, you know, next to nothing. The only thing I spent money on was this little carbide insert here. And I did go get a couple of little cap screws here for the adjustment point and for mounting the carbide. So I have about probably 12 or 14 bucks in this one, but the rest of it was all scrap wood and scrap pieces I had here in the shop. You know, I think I enjoy using these homemade tools more than any others. There's just a certain satisfaction in pulling one of these things out and have it accomplish what you intended it to accomplish. Well, that's all I was going to go over in this video. I sure hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to leave me a comment and a like, and if you haven't become a subscriber, I sure hope you'll do that. And in the meantime, I've got 50, 60 other videos here on the Stewart Arts channel, and if you haven't seen those, you might go back and take a look at some of those. You might get something out of them. And you're always welcome to join me here at Stewart Arts. Thanks for watching.